Hello, welcome to episode 161 of Live Drawing. I'm your pal Ian. Tonight we're going to keep working on coloring Undersea Hero, and we're basically picking out the flat color sections that'll be the spaces for retro colors. Oops. And we'll cut screens so that they look like old-fashioned comics in the future when we get this thing done. Hey Martha's, we're doing okay today. I'll lighten that up a little bit. Excuse me. Guess I had a little too much dinner. How are you doing? How are things with you? Hopefully the stream works a little better. Yeah, this is the one that you flatted. I have had to make a few changes to the colors. And then there's some, I don't know what happened. It looked like in some places where the brush was, just like this, I'll zoom in. You can see, like right on this control panel, you can see where some of the colors were just a little choppy. So I just go in and a couple swipes and they're all good. You actually added more detail than I had planned on putting in on this panel. Just because if you look at it, it's all yellow. DM, Ray, how you doing? What's shaking? Forgive me if I'm a little slow tonight. I just was dealing with a migraine earlier, so I might be talking a little more deliberately. But yeah, we're working away. We're on pages 30 and 31. This is a part of a music number that is in the book, and I'll show you. Here's where the flats and channels are at, but here's what it'll look like when it's lettered, and this is them singing a duet together. So that's what it'll end up being, the finished colors behind it. And this is not the finished color. When we were working on this, this is just the second stage in coloring. It goes from flats to this, and then it goes on to what you call it, the screens that we put on top of it. So yeah, see, in some places I don't know why some of the colors are a little wonky, so I got to go in and flatten them out. I'm guessing it's because you just used a different program. Yeah, it's okay. We'll work our way through. It'll be okay. I appreciate the effort. Anybody drawing or reading anything good right now? Any good comics that I should be picking up? I did pick up some dollar comics this week. I got some old Savage Dragons. I got some Power Man and Iron Fist. A couple of Fantastic Fours. I picked up the first issue of the DC Universe Legacies, which has some Joe Kubert art in it, which I'm looking forward to. There was an annual for a Man of Steel comic, which was drawn by John Paul Leon, who's just a tremendous artist. If you don't know who that is, he drew a very important series for Marvel called Earth X, which, if you haven't read, it's written by Jim Kruger and Alex Ross, and I highly recommend it. John Paul did the main artwork with a fellow named Bill Reinhold. And it's a distant future, alternate future of the Marvel Universe, and it's really, really good. Oh, no worries. It's not a big deal. I just appreciate the help, so I'm not disparaging whatsoever. Yeah, this is a double page spread, so it'll be across 2 pages. Sorry I didn't do a promotional post for this stream. I just was very busy today, so I also just didn't wanna jinx us, I guess. Oh man, that is frustrating. The magic wand would disappear. Oh, thanks for getting done what you got done. I appreciate it. It'll help get it done just a little quicker for folks, and I know people really appreciate that, especially myself. I will be very happy when this book is off to the printer. And I have our good friend Desiree has given us a hand on some of the check-ins of the spellings for me on that lettering section pass that we had done, which I think the lettering's done. If she finds something, that needs to be fixed, I will absolutely fix it, but I think we're in good shape. Sure, and I got your email for that title. I thought that drawing looked nice. I'll take a stab at the title treatment. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I can do it tomorrow. That would be good. Our good friend Nate Lovett has a new cover. Hey, Michael, good to see you. We have to always highlight Michael's opening show tradition. Hello, everyone on the stream and chat. I hope everyone's doing well. If not, may things get better for you. It's always good, Mike. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, my plan on it was to, when I looked at it, the way you wanted it bent was to actually just work on the proportionality. I was going to use just some basic graphic design and, try to give it a look with the rule of thirds in mind. It's a simple way of just trying to get the proportionality to balance out. That was the only thing I saw. And, I like it looking handwritten. I much prefer handwritten titles to the computer super slick stuff. Both can be done well, just a matter of taste, like what people like. Right now, much more in a kick of I like knowing it was made or drawn by a person. I think it adds to my enjoyment of a piece of artwork or a comic or whatever. And to me, having something look like easily identifiable either by the surface or by the oh, Bruce wants to come in. You want to come in, Bruce? It's either in or out, pal. Come in. Sorry, Bruce was meowing at the door. Okay. And then he jumps down. Typical cat. Yeah, Bruce was wanting attention and then not wanting attention. Hopefully he'll find a way to make it through tonight's stream. Yeah, that was the only thing I was thinking about with that title. Was hitting it with proportional. Yeah, Bruce was giving us an announcement of his presence. Yeah, Mike, how you doing? You're still coloring your book. What type of process are you doing? Are you doing like a painted look? Or are you going for like an old school comic look? What's on the docket for Mike? Yeah, it's too much. Carried away there. There's two different stories in that framing component. It looks like I'm coloring it in 3 different styles. Sure, if you want me to take a look at it, I can take a look. If not, it's all good. I'm not the arbiter of anything. I just enjoy supporting my friends' creative work. Where's my reference? I have to grab some reference. This is the page prior, where the band is introduced. This is a colossal squid with a hat on. He's the triangle player. You've got just your typical, Stax record style bass player. We got a trumpet fish section, the blowfish, and then we have a deep sea type of insect or crustacean. What is it? My brain's not working at the moment. Close these. That's cool, yeah. Doing different styles. See if I can grab that. I think her shorts are a different color. Just want to make sure. Yeah, they're like a khaki color. Her shorts are like a khaki color. And then these are actually her shorts kicked up in the back there. It's actually just like a loinclothy type thing. Yeah. Let me see if I have a better shot of it. Yeah, here it is on page 12. Let's see, it's just not a big deal. Easy just to pop it in there. And here you can see we've got a really strong light source, so we don't really need to add much in the way of, especially with the type of coloring we're doing, any sort of dark medium tones. We can just add some light along the edges. This is nice. What you don't see is when I switch between tools, I'm using my left hand on the keyboard. That's where most of it ends up. I'm sorry I took down last week's stream. I will put it back up. I just need to edit it because we had so many technical glitches that I just needed to take it down. It was just bugging me. After all the half hour in the beginning, basically, it's just you staring at a blank screen, I think is the probably my worst go as a streamer. So I will put it back up to complete the set once I have time to edit the thing. And all I got to do is chop out that part at the beginning, that 20 minutes, and then re-upload it. Anybody reading any good comics lately or see any good movies? It is, yeah. My hand is doing better, thank you. Yeah, once they got the stitches out, it's been healing pretty quick. So I've got one bandage on my right hand, on my drawing hand, and then I've got 3 on my left hand. That was the hand that kind of took the brunt of it when I went down. But thank you for asking. Yeah, but that's been getting better. I had a little bit of a migraine today and yesterday, and it's just from staring at the screen so much. I end up doing graphic design for most of the day, and then when I get home, it's cook dinner, get ready for the next day, and then I'm back on here doing colors. I'll show you how I do this background here. I don't just do the same old, same old. Let me grab my reference here. You can see on this page that we did that I use 4 different colors of blue. And then when we do the final one, these black lines will be turned into a color hold. So those will be white. But we have this blue, pure cyan, this yellow, and then we do a highlight layer. So we'll go back here. We'll get our polygonal selection tool. And we'll just use that. Oops, we didn't get the whole thing. To pick out different sections of that blue that we want in different colors. Let me get our paint bucket tool. Let's grab this one. Let's see. Oh, we forgot to deselect. There we go. And then we'll grab another polygonal lasso tool. And we'll go like this. I'm trying to space them out so that they're not too close together. They have some distance between them. And they're not just, I'm looking at the color makeup and I'm making decisions as I go as to where I think the best ones would be for each color. For this case, I might use just the 3. Yeah, why not? We're here. Might as well use the other one, right? We'll just do 2. Only the folks here and I will know. We only did 2 of that color. Yeah, I can show you how will turn those into a color hold. You can't see it, but I have my layers window here, and you'd see that there is a section labeled top lines, which there's a line of black on top with the line art. There's an isolated layer of line art on top of the entire piece. And then there's one underneath it, and they're both set to multiply, so you get a really nice, rich ink coverage for a digital print. You can see how messy my drawing is. You can see some like eraser bits and stuff, but when we finish the aging coloring process, all of that stuff will just disappear. And that's one of the forgiving things about this process, is that if you're a person who has, a messy drawing style like I do, and I always have, no matter how much I try to clean it up, and when I clean it up too much, I just think it looks sterile. I really don't like it when it's too clean. When I think about excellent artists whose work was considered messy, I think of an artist like Tom Sutton, who did a lot of work in black and white magazines and the Marvel, Charlton, all kinds of stuff, Warren. And then what we'll do is we will copy the top lines, delete them, and then we have to erase the bottom layer. So we grab our brush tool and we just switch to white, and then we can delete those real quick. You can see those lines are all gone. Oops. And we paste those in place. You can see the lines are there. We go to blending options and just go to color overlay, and that'll make them white. There you go. That's what it looks like with a white color hold on the lines. And you can see when you do that, these figures just pop more. I've got to clean out some of this, so you get to watch some cleaning too. Yeah, some of I fault no one for not fully picking up what I'm putting down, because my lines are messy, especially when you get into the little noodly ones. And it's tough to unless I like walk somebody through it, it's tough to really explain everything. And I know it's a tougher assignment. Even somebody who I worked with on multiple projects, like my friend Jesse, he'll do a great job filling everything in, really, really excellent. And then like it's just some of the coloring spots where I left it open or I didn't close something where it's easy. Hello, Seashell. How's it going? We're back coloring. Hopefully we'll get this done at some point. Got Colonel Feathers here, and he's got his little scuba tank on. Let's clear that out like that. Like even those little bits right there that I was talking about, those will all disappear. And I'll probably add color holds here. Definitely over here, I'll add another color hold. Like, yeah, maybe we can do that. We'll show off what that would look like. I just had the lasso tool. I hit the L key on my keyboard. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's supposed to look like, a stylized motion line. The submarine is swimming through the water there. This is during the big musical number. So Colonel Feathers, who is our penguin guy, and this is Jana War. She's like she's the character that's actually good at being like a super villain. And they're off to rob an undersea casino, and it happens during the big musical number between Morena and Eel, and they're singing a song together. Where, of course, I put the lyrics in as the captions, and it's set to the classic Dream Lover. We can go with the Bobby Darin or the Fuller Band or any version you like, but it's called Green Lover because he's a green moray eel. I had aspirations of hiring a couple of musicians to do a duet for it, but I just didn't have the time or the funding to do it at the time. But it's definitely something we would do in the future. Okay. Grab our top lines. Delete. That is a brush. I see. That's right. Got my layers crossed up. And the good thing about that is for this technique, when we do the aging coloring at the end, that'll look like paper damage, which which is what I'm going for. And there's just copy our layer style. And this here, paste layer style. And that's what that looks like with white lines instead. And you can see that, like, especially when you zoom out, you can see in both instances the vehicle pops more. And I use that technique here and there. I try not to use it in too many places. And like I said, this is not what the final colors will look like. These are just me picking out where the highlights and shadows go on everything. The final colors will look like the ones you saw in issue 0. I'll pull up one of those pages for you. It'll look like this here. And you can see where the screens are. You can see the little dots, the printer dots. And these are those selections that we're doing right now. Like, these are those highlights. Like if you see the highlights here, like right here, that's what it looks like in the final one. If you go down on Crackus, you can see what the white will look like. And then these are what the little shadows look like. But these are each cut individually. So that's why this coloring process takes forever, and people generally don't do it anymore. So we have to go through the whole book coloring it this way, and then we have to go through the whole book again and do all those coloring effects and techniques. Here is Eel. Just lighten his tongue a little bit. Oops, one layer. There we go. And then these little spots, these would be yellow. Oh yeah, thank you everybody for Popping in tonight. Sorry, like I said, I'm sorry I didn't put a notice out. I just got real busy today. I was running late, dealing with some stuff with my car, and then it was just all day. Lots and lots of work to do. Our light source is behind us, and you think about how light goes around, like if you imagine like a ping pong ball, and that's basically what his eye is like. And then this side is actually hidden more, so you actually show a little bit more shadow. And obviously, the solid black and the pure white are like our greatest points of contrast. And when we are adding any of these tones, there are midtones, and one favors the shadow and one favors the highlights. Tomorrow is Thursday, so I don't have any huge plans for Thursday other than I never liked Thursdays, and actually one of my first comic books that I created, one of my first creator-owned books, I named the villain Thursday because of how much I didn't like Thursday. I always saw Thursday as that day that was in the way of hope. If you believe that, if you're a person who typically hasn't worked on the weekends, I see a Friday as a very hopeful day as you're getting to the weekend, but Thursday is the day that squashes hope, and I saw that as a villainous act by a completely inanimate calendar thing. Calendar designation is probably the right word. Now that shadow I did right there, I made a couple of design decisions. I do actually, and I have, I'll show you, like I was just explaining that, Joe. Good to see you. Here's what the pages will look like when they're done. Right now, I'm just actually designating the highlight and the shadow areas. Like, for example, on Lord Crackus here, you can very plainly see this is the highlight, and this is the shadow. So when we're on our pages, here's the highlight, here's the shadow. And when I go to put the screens on, and I'll show how I do this when we finish doing this section of the coloring. I use the magic wand tool to select the shadow, and then I can just put that mix of screen everywhere on the page that is that mix of screen. Like if this here is, I believe this color here is C3M4. And what that means is it's a 30% cyan, 40% magenta. And when I have this here, if I select this color everywhere on the page, whether it's here, 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 and down here, I can drop all that ink at once to that screen. And like, her skin tone, I believe, is C3M3. If anyone's ever seen old color guides, this is what's written all over them. Like this color right here is really simple. It's MY. That's what red is. That's full magenta, full yellow. And when I'm designing colors, this is actually for a page, this is very important. And I don't think people remember this. One person who was brilliant at it was actually Klaus Janson, is that you only have cyan, yellow, 100% magenta, and then you have 100% mixes of those that are a flat screen. There's no screen. It's just a flat ink. And when you're putting flat ink down, it creates a great contrast when you have a halftone screen in front of it. Like right here, these colors, this is cyan here. This is cyan right here. Like these are flat ink colors. So these will really pop when they're behind him on the paper. But these right here, this is C3, and then this is C4, the darker one. And those will be screens in front of right here, like this screen right here in front of this flat color. Like I'm doing that to intentionally enhance the depth. I'm making that coloring choice. Like this formula talk is really, really boring, so I don't talk about it all that often. Like this light here, this will end up being yellow. I would probably say Y3 and then white. So this is white. Oh, Martha's is offering to send everybody free copies of her new mini comic. If people are interested, just drop me a line and I can be the middle person if you'd like. But yeah, that's the color stuff. Like, and then this here, this is YM3, and as I've been using this more, the orange mixes until you get to M4 look very flat. Like right here, this is YM2, and then this is YM3 right here. This is C2, this is CY2. So like when you learn all these things, this right here is real simple. The reason why his design works is because his flat ink section is just CY. It's real simple. That's green. So like you can see here, this brown, to make this brown, this has cyan, magenta, and yellow screens. So it is a very complex screen, but when you put it up against, you can see it right here, something that looks flat. Like, and here's magenta. One of the reasons I picked the background to look like the gravel in a fish tank was so that I could use more magenta. And you can always use cyan in the background, and that creates a nice flat for your stuff to pop in front of. If you use a little rim lighting like this is rim lighting, where you put a good highlight right on the forward part of a glove, it'll really pop. You know, this is the type of stuff I think about when I'm designing pages. It's not just the drawing composition. When I'm doing these layouts, like right here, this is Y4M3. So it's 40% yellow, 30% magenta. So, but yeah, there you go. There's a quick. We won't save that. We don't need to save that. That's the next step. Doing all those formulas after we define all the places where those different ink drops go, because it just saves a ton of time when you get to that next step. If you go into doing those screens without the actual areas you want cordoned off, nothing lines up. You will not get those screens to line up. And if you want that look, that's fine. But I'm not going for that look. I'm going for a look that looks like the best coloring that you could get in about 1987. That's about what I'm looking for. If you go online, a really fun and useful tool is they actually have the contact sheets from the printers that Eclipse, Pacific, and First Comics used to use. So you can actually get the formulas and the paper type, so you can fake the paper type as well. Oops. That was a mistake on my part. Oops. Oh well. But there you go. You got a quick formula lesson for old school coloring. If I actually met Steve Olaf at San Diego a few years ago. We were at the convention there, and we just met randomly on the floor, which was cool because he had just come from a panel where where they announced they were going to reprint a bunch of his Vertigo stuff that he colored apparently, and a lot of that Vertigo stuff has a good agreement with the creators anytime they reprint it. So he was going to be getting he made it sound like that he was going to be getting a decent payday from DC, but Steve Olive was one of those guys that was at the forefront of converting to digital coloring techniques, but he was also a phenomenal traditional colorist. And I remember talking to him and a couple of other old school guys about just the old formula sheets and the coloring. Color guides. I've actually started buying color guides from art dealers because one, they're really cool, and then two, they're super cheap. So you can actually get art that was used in the production of these books that's hand done by guys like George Russo, Steve Olive, um, Patty Cockrum, who was Dave Cockram's widow, was a colorist. There was tons of coloring stuff out there. So if you want to get into production artwork, um, I'm sorry to plug him, but Anthony Snyder has an awesome selection. No, I'm not sorry to plug him. He's he can be cranky sometimes a little bit, but he's super informed and has a great collection of stuff for sale. And he's never steered me wrong, and has always had solid customer service to me. Oh, I missed your last comment. It was about the New England Aquarium. Yeah, the moray eel does not wear a bow tie. Maybe he should. Maybe he would be happier if he was allowed. Maybe they're preventing him from wearing a bow tie. Maybe he'd be happier if they let him wear a bow tie. And maybe sing a few lounge songs while they're at it. Anybody else ever heard the Iggy Pop lounge record? Surprisingly good. I don't think we need any highlights over there. I think that would be confusing. Let's get our white. Put some white rim white, just very tippy top. And then I want a little bit just to separate. See, when we do this, put this little bit of white in here. And what that'll do, here we'll zoom out, is you see this thick line here and this highlight here, it pushes the fin back. Basically, it pulls the face forward and pushes the fin back. And you can make different choices as you go along. Like his snout is coming pretty far forward. If we want to push it forward a little more, just a little bit. That might be a little too much, maybe it doesn't work. I don't think it needs very much. That's not a trick I like to overuse. Put a little bit there, a little bit there, and that'll bring us forward. Now we've got our singing pufferfish here. I do enjoy saying that sentence. That's the kind of thing I like saying. Just gotta make the eyes brown. That's true. That's true, Patrick. I would not have expected that either. Oh, nice. A Pat Boone metal record. Might have to check that out. Now, if you've ever seen northern bandtail pufferfish, here's one that just looks goofy. But they look like this. They have yellow on top, and when they inflate, they have white bellies. They're a little different than porcupine fish. So what we'll do is we'll select these. And then this is where flatting, there's nothing that, unless I had drawn it, it wouldn't have done you any good. So if I had drawn a line there, then that would have created more of a, what do you call it? Another color hold we would need to do. And by the time you see this book, when it's released, I would dare someone to go through it and just count the color holds throughout it and just look at the placement of them, because that's actually something that was very intentional. And again, if you look at my notes from the first pages of the layout, all that stuff was planned. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but that was I think he left, but that was Joe St. Pierre who popped in. And he's a terrific artist. He's got his own books called New Zodiacs. They're really, really fun books. He's creating his own like interconnected big time universe based on a new version of the astrological signs. So hop over to astronautinc.com and check him out, or just hit up his Facebook page. He's also on Whatnot. He does all kinds of originals on Whatnot. I've never done the Whatnot thing. Don't know if I will, but definitely won't be doing any of that until Undersea Hero is in the can and we are on the other side. Oh, I'll have to check that out, Marcos. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Michael says, anyone watching live or on demand, clicking the thumbs up like button helps the channel grow. It does. I'd say we don't have a ton of people that are like, we're not one of those big comics channels because I don't review like known intellectual properties. It's all process art, and interviews with people, my friends talking, showing what they're working on, So I considered doing like some of those videos where I just flip through a comic, but I didn't, I've never made the time for it. Good to see you, Ethan. Glad you could make it tonight. Everything good with you? How does Whatnot work? You can ask Joe. It's a sales platform where you stream and sell at the same time. And I think they have some deal with one of the other sellers. Is it eBay or one of the other ones? I don't remember. But it's just like any other social media interface platform, as far as what I'm told, is that you have to use it regularly. So you have to do it once or twice a week at least for you to build, grind out and build your audience early on, unless you have like, a lot of name recognition. And Joe does. So like Joe worked on Spider-Man for years. So he had that feather in his cap to entice people to come check out his work, in addition to him drawing beautiful stuff. So, and his sketches are very reasonable. I've got pages. I've bought all kinds of stuff from Joe over the years. I'm very lucky to get to look at it whenever I want to in my studio. Joe's been doing, oh, look at this. Ethan just got engaged. One of our compadres got engaged. Congratulations, Ethan. Hope you're both extremely happy. Have a fantastic wedding. I wish there was a way for me to do like, fireworks or something. That's the big news of the stream right there. And I know that when I go on top of the white, that it stands out very boldly. But when we go over here and you see, like right here in this highlight, because it's on a paper texture, you don't really notice it. It's not as extreme. It just looks like another tone that you can render with. There's our singing pufferfish. Roz Chaz New Yorker wedding gag. I'll have to look that up, Pat. There's actually an exhibit of a whole bunch of old New Yorker cartoons at a gallery on Martha's Vineyard. I considered popping over just to check it out and then catch the ferry back. The walk-on ferry is not that expensive. It's like 25 bucks. That paper texture I actually scanned from old paper. That was actually one I scanned. But if you go into the if you get into True Grit, they've got a whole bunch. And then there's a bunch online that you can find if you go to like you can license them for commercial work from like Shutterstock and any of those. And if you go to Adobe Stock, they've got great paper textures too. Um, there's all kinds of places you can get really excellent paper textures. See, this one's easy. This page is like all, this panel is all solid color. Yeah, I've actually scanned old Golden Age books that I've bought over the years. You can buy beat up coverless Golden Age comics for, $5 or $10. And then what I do is I scan it and I take the margins and I basically cut them all out and then blend them into one sheet of paper. And I can reuse that over and over again. This I'm just going to leave flat because they're trying to get in secret. So the lines are when they first jump out of it's very dramatic. They jump out of the door under the subway, and you'd think like in an action movie, they're gonna fall to possibly their doom. But you're underwater, so they're just kind of drifting down. I don't know. It's one of those things where if you think about it, I think it gets a little funnier. But if you just zoom past it, it's just kind of like, oh, that makes sense. It's one of those things I hope that if anyone rereads it, they're like, "Oh, I got this on the second pass." Oops. Our light source is over here. So anybody knows that when that's the case, your shadows are going to be over here. Right now I'm just using the pressure sensitive hard round. It's a really easy brush. It came with Photoshop. A lot of people use it for everything, and what it does is it'll give me I'm using it on a pencil tool, and it gives me a hard edge to grab when I'm doing those color screens. If you don't want more of the formula talk, maybe when we get to that part, you skip those streams when we're working on the formulas. Yeah, if you're bored, go online and just Google some of those old color guides. They're really fun to look at. and they're informative, and, like, because there was a limited palette, you have to be a little bit more creative, like, what color is this if we don't literally have that? How do I make more believable, um, skin tones? How do I use light and design to tell a more dramatic story than just doing the literal, color that something is? Making those sorts of decisions and thinking about them while designing a page, and not necessarily thinking about realism, deferring to storytelling. You look at the Frank Miller Daredevil run. I remember, whole panels that were just C2 or C3. There's that famous scene in the movie theater with Ben Urich and Bullseye. I believe that is a one or two color sequence. If I were coloring this digitally to give it the digital coloring look, it wouldn't be like this. Like, you would see, I would be grabbing different colors. It would be totally different. It would have a different purpose. The purpose of this is to give me something to hold on to when we're doing those screens. You see, there's that same trick, like darken the fin and then put a highlight in front of it. What am I going to do after this? I'm going to pack my bag for work, and maybe watch some Antiques Roadshow, read a comic book, get off a computer screen. What do you folks do when you need to get away from the computer screen? Like, what's one of your things that you like to do? Do you go gaming? Do you like to go for walks? Like, what do you like to do to get when you got to get off the computer? Because so much of this job in the modern times is required to be on the computer. Or Martha's, anybody? Like, what do you like to do to get away from the grind on the computer? Or do you not need to? Like, is it just such a part of your routine that, like, you don't need to get away from it? I don't know. Me, I still need to get off of the computer from time to time just to recharge, and these things give me a migraine when I stare at it too long. And Morena's dress actually has stripes, so we'll have to color those in. Just the phone? Yeah, I don't know how you do it by doing your artwork on the phone. I'd need to see like a tutorial video of how that's even possible. It's beyond me. Adaptive, very impressive. Board games, yeah, yeah, yeah. Read books. I mean, at least well, we all have a to be read pile. Let's be fair here. All of us comic people have that pile. Mine's about 8 inches tall. Oh, don't worry about it, Martha's. I probably failed to send enough reference. I take blame for any and all coloring hiccups, whether it's my noodle drawings or didn't send enough reference or whatever. So if I had time for everything, everybody would have turnarounds and all that stuff. I just don't have the time. Oops, I got the wrong color. Wow, you draw all those on the phone. That's wild. That is wild. On your phone. Man, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. I mean, when this book is done, I'm going to be doing some that are exclusively on paper, colored, written, penciled, inked, lettered, like whole thing. So I spend so much time on the computer, and I get so tired of it. I have not gotten to go fishing at all this year. Oh wow, you're on page 20, 20 something. Yeah, I mean, if you're already good at working on a phone, I mean, I would think that a tablet would be helpful. And there actually are some really affordable tablets out there. I was actually looking into that for literally just for reading comics. And Michael, I saw your comment. I do think a Kindle is different just because of how different the screen is. I mean, I know they're all in color now. You know, Kindles used to just be like a step up from a calculator. When I worked for the book publishing company Acanthus in Boston, I used to design Kindle books. They had a very specific type of layout they had to have in Adobe InDesign. There was a special plugin that you had to use to output it to the right type of file. Then there was Kindle, and then there was also EPUB files, which was for the Amazon reader. And I think all that stuff that I know about those is entirely worthless at this point. I think that's a dead technology. Yeah, my dime box is definitely going to be 100% on paper, and I might even zip-a-tone it. You know, might even have to throw some old-fashioned zip-a-tone on those pages. All right, let's get our white. It's a hard light source, so there's going to be a lot more white than you'd normally have on this simple of a figure. Again, using that same silly little trick, you use it over and over and over again. Pulls the face forward. You can see the highlight there, the shadow. Oh, why not? A little shiny little leg right there, back of the shoe. There we go. And we'll do the same thing over here. Just gonna pull some of this forward because we can. And it helps frame the figure. Like part of the reason this tail is here and then the back of eel is here is that it encircles and creates this thing. Because right here, this line, this is where the page fold is. And then her lyrics, the part that she's singing, is up over here. And then his are over here. Hey, Daniel. All right. It is 9:15. I'm glad we've made it to this point, but I do think that we are going to be wrapping it up tonight because I've been dealing with a migraine today and screen time just kills me. So thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad we didn't have the technical glitches. Um, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their week and weekend. And yeah, we didn't quite finish this page, but we made some progress. You can see our little duet. And yeah, we'll just keep on keeping on, keep working. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. And hopefully I will see you next week. Good night.